What's goody, everybody? It's full-time trip. We are back in the building. Arsenal won. Manchester City won. I need a towel. I'm sweating. This is bullshit. I'm tired, y'all. My heart has literally burned. My voice is already half shot. Like, comment, subscribe. But this was, oh my gosh, a frustrating, fascinating, fast-paced and slow-paced game with a lot of thoughts and a lot of recollections that have come from it. But scoreline, early goal from Haaland, a defensive breakdown from us, and again, some poor tracking on part of Gabriel and Saliba, and then it's an easy finish for Haaland on the far post. But late in the game, 92nd minute, a great ball from Eberechi Eze over the top to get Gabriel Martinelli in with a wonderful chip over Donnarumma and gets us back on level terms right at the end. And then that's how it settled. Where do I even start? There's so many conflicting feelings from this game. I feel confused, y'all. I really do. I'm gonna be honest. There's so much here, but you know what? I don't even know how I'm gonna do a 4 things I liked about video. I don't know how I'm gonna do it today. This is gonna be a stretch. This is gonna be a little bit of a stretch, but we'll say this. I'll start with the starting lineup. I'll start there. We had, again, a lot of selection headache and a lot of things that we could have potentially done. But the decision in 2 key areas that I think caused the most contention was Leandro Trossard at left wing and Mikel Merino again at right center mid. And this kind of denotes where I start to have, well, not even start, this is where some of my quarrel is with Arteta. My quarrels with Mikel Arteta as a fan watching and seeing the evidence that I have seen as a football fan over these past few seasons, specifically the last 2, it's pragmatism versus proactivity and how he's going to balance those things. And that's one issue. And the other issue is substitutions and proactivity with that substitution. You know, like specifically that. Like those are the 2 big things of like, are you gonna take the handbrake off, or, you know, again, impose yourself, or try to not be imposed upon? Answer that question. And then when things are going wrong, how proactive are you going to be in the game states? How proactive are you going to actually see what's going on? I know some of that is very dependent on squad fitness, squad health, maintaining again that level of health across all competitions. I understand that, but especially in these big games, especially when we don't have, again, maybe a big game player that he's used to, like a Havertz and something like that. When we're at home, I don't care if it's Man City, I don't care if it's Bayern, Barcelona, any of these people. I get it. I get domination is a big goal of his. And the thing that gets me is, when does it become about, when does it become about us? You know, when do we become the protagonists of the story? And I get it. Pragmatism and a lot of his influences have put into some of his thought process, and a lot of the scars of the past, getting 4-1 by City, trying to go man-to-man at home, and all these other things have scarred us, especially in these big games. But just at a general stance, and especially in these big games as well, when do we make the story about us? When do we say, hey, we know we have the tools to mitigate you, but now it's not only about mitigation, but having the ability to provide calculated risks, to take the risk to put us over the line, to put people in place to have individual quality, to put us over the line when we know we can create deadlocks and nullify your style, nullify whoever's coming up against us. That's great. We can nullify people. That's wonderful. I think that is so important. I don't want to discredit or discount that fact that we can nullify any side in world football. We can do that, and we've evidenced that over the past few seasons. But now, to get over that last line, to really get there, it's about, can we impose our will? Can we impose our attack? Can we impose our, again, players and systems, and again, just now in an attacking sense, can we impose that on anybody else in world football? And the answer is, right now, maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. We have to see the lineup, because City were there for the taking. I think, again, there was obviously things that we had to be wary about, that obviously in the first 10 minutes, we literally fell to one simple counterattack, didn't track back, had a defensive breakdown, and it was that. But in the rest of the game, they didn't really provide anything. Again, they just waited. They were trying to press early in the early stages and seeing what happens and X, Y, Z. But as the game went, they slipped deeper and deeper into a low block, and we just had more lion's share of possession and more lion's share of, again, just the ball to create things. And as those things are going along, I'm looking at it like, okay, if we started from the off with the ability to kind of like spring a ball over the top like the equalizer, if we started the ball with more of that propensity to have people who are carrying the ball to the midfield, I'm not saying we have to go all out attack from the rip. I'm not saying sub on, I'm not saying start with Waneri, Eze, again, Odegaard if he was fit, Saka, all this. I'm not saying that, but the balance is still too conservative. The handbrake is still on. The handbrake is still on. And when we're coming into these games, we have to believe in ourselves so much that we have to impose our will before we look to stop them from imposing theirs. That's just where my mind state, and it's going to be a fundamental difference, I think, in how Arteta approaches games and how other people do. But I think for us to win these big trophies, we have to, again, it's going to sound cliche and corny or whatever you want to call it, but we have to be the people that write our story first. Our first sentence of that story can't be, oh, we got to stop Man City. No, we got to win the game. And here's how we're going to impose ourselves. And when they come with this, counter, counter. But we have to be the first line of our own story, in my opinion. And with the reinforcements that we have now, with the squad depth we had now, with the individual characters and qualities we have now, we have more than enough to at least start to ask those questions more and more and write those answers more and more. But today was, again, the scars of the past. And honestly, because I think these City games are such big inflection points for Arteta to really learn and apply and see what's happening, and again, they're big chess matches between him and Pep, this was something where we saw he had to make a move. Maybe to him it was desperate, but it had to be done, and that was making subs at halftime. That was the proactivity piece, whether it's pragmatism or proactivity, and he chose proactivity, at least in that moment. Maybe it was, again, a bit reactive to see how the game was going, but I would consider it proactive by not waiting for like the 60th minute or whatever to see if we can change the game. I think Arteta got that gut feeling of, hey, this is going to be a different game than we need, and maybe that bit of desperation pushed him to that point to say, hey, we have to bring on Eze, we have to bring on Saka, let's make something happen. Maybe it was Madueke limping and saying, damn, he's got to come off. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that was something that inspired. I don't know, whatever it is. The proactivity was there, but the protagonism, I think, has to be there. I think that's a great way to summarize it. We are fantastic at being pragmatists. We're being a side full of pragmatism. Arteta's a coach that is full of pragmatism. But now it is the time to understand how proactive you have to be in choosing whether to be a pragmatist or lead with protagonism, being the people to have the impetus to attack at home, being the people that have the impetus to show the individual qualities and play through the lines and do these things that maybe are a bit risky, but you have the qualities to get through and get over the line and make these things happen. It's going to delve into a whole lot of things that are there. I can spend another time talking about this, but all in all, like that's the biggest thing that I took from this game I think he realized the proactivity piece, but now I think the next stage of his evolution as a manager has to push towards protagonism, really being a protagonist and believing that he can blow any side out of the water with his attacking qualities and the attacking just ranks that he has in his side. That's where I'm at with Arteta. But to speak on the game, again, started again too conservatively. I think I just a little bit cagey, and then just the one breakdown, really just rough stuff in that first half, especially from Gabriel and Saliba in that moment. Gabriel pushed up too high. Saliba didn't pick the right lane to mark, in my opinion, and track down. Left Haaland to get a free touch in the space. He's going to be quick enough to get that down and put it across Raya's goal, put across Raya's body, and that's a goal. I think as it went along, again, we got more possession of the ball, but again, it became more U-shaped and people were trying to try things. He went off at the half, but my man of the match up to that half point was Madueke. Noni Madueke, again, was one of the only ones consistently upping tempo. Again, we're good in the first phase. We know how to build out from there. In the second phase, we're solid at getting the ball at least up the pitch a little bit through the lines, and central access is another thing that we have to contend with, and I think Eze and Waneri is going to help with that across the season. But when it comes to accelerating play, accelerating tempo, we need more accelerators on the pitch. It can't, that midfield is, they're not accelerators, you know? I think Zubameni is probably the most active of an accelerator, you know, but I think how we set up for those things and those moments, I think that's not equipped for us to be protagonists in games. That's not on, you know? So Madueke was one of the few, if only, accelerators on the pitch in the first half for us, and in my opinion. I think Timber was good throughout the first half. I think second half he had a little bit of a rougher time because Doku was on one. I'll give Doku his credit. This is probably the first defender or fullback under 30 that he had a good day against. I'll give him that. But Doku's a really good winger anyways, as much crap people give him. But yeah, I thought that first half was realizing that we had the lion's share of possession and start to actually get into the game and get more comfortable, and then kick on from there and trying to build out. But we needed those substitutions. I think Trossard starting was not the best decision in the world. I disagree with that decision. I think against active legs against somebody like Kushanov, who's going to be pacey. Again, he might not be the best pure 1v1 defender, but he's going to be pacey. So anything in transition to be an accelerator, to speed up play, Trossard's not going to be as equipped for. Maybe they were depending on the interchanges with him and Gyökeres to kind of do that, but Gyökeres was definitely occupied with two center backs on him, and with the lack of central access that we, again, try and get, there's only so much you can do, you know? And it was just a rougher game from that perspective, a rougher game. But second half, things got better because of the substitutions. Eberechi, Eze, Bukayo Saka. Really good to see Bukayo Saka back immediately. Just looked already winning fouls off the press, like already being a more dangerous presence than a lot of the team. We missed him. You know, like Madueke held it down. I appreciate it, but I think there's a level of quality there and consistency in his decision making that you just can't miss all the time. You can't miss throughout most of a season. You need that to really get there in big moments, and appreciate him for, again, attacking the game in the way that he did. Madueke, I hope he's not injured or anything like that, but let's hope for the best on that front. Eze, again, I liked the pot of him, Eze, Saka, Eze, and Timber because of that level of unpredictability. You can't double team everybody, so they created some openings and going back and forth from there. Yeah, and then the big things was finding the space and finding the service. And I think people are gonna give Gyökeres some slander as well, but looking at how the half was, looking at how haram ball Pep's setup was, and looking at the propensity of people to play a pass that Eze played at the end of the game throughout, Gyökeres was looking for something. He was trying to fight on every scrap he had, but he just wasn't getting the service that was required, you know? And I think Eze's presence helped with the forward line and getting balls over the top and through lines, and we'll see that partnership, I think, between Eze understanding the space to make those early runs, which, again, he tracked great, you know, damn near perfectly for that pass to Martinelli. And then just from a relational perspective, I really think Eze is going to improve our ability to add variety to our attacks from it's specifically a passing standpoint. But Gyökeres, again, didn't have the best of games, but he was fighting onto every scrap that he could have. And, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to fault it. Not the best performance, but, you know, it was okay. And I just know a lot of it is down to the crux of how much service he's going to get from between the lines. And I think that's going to come with Odegaard coming back and Eze getting more time on the ball from the midfield specifically, and getting that midfield access. So there's that. And I just want to sing the praises of some of these subs as well. Again, Eze, I've told you enough about him. Great stuff. But Martinelli is absolutely my man of the match. Again, Martinelli is my man of the match. Another one. Off the bench against dead legs. And just the wherewithal in general. I know that's his perfect game state. Running down the channel, again, high ball, straight through, running onto it against dead legs or tired legs. Martinelli is an absolute threat and asset to what we have. And it comes down to, you know, I get it. If he would play well, you know, they're gonna earn their starts. But Martinelli and Trossard, in effect, are such great impact players. They're great finishers for what we have going on, that we have to always consider them in those game states. And it paid dues today. It paid dividends today. Martinelli's finish was fantastic. The run was fantastic. The commitment on that front was fantastic. And he saved our asses. He saved our asses again today. To at least get a point out of this. To at least get a point. And that's something that I'll never discredit. I'll never discredit, man. He's making things happen for us, you know, whenever he's coming in and he's making an impact. So you got to give him his dues. People got to, you know, at least shut up about him. Like, oh, he's useless and blah, blah, blah. He's providing some pretty good use for us now. Right down the middle, center forward run. You know what I'm saying? Give him that time and he'll provide something in those game states, in my opinion. So, yeah. But overall, again, just a very, very tough game. Very, very tough, where I think we just took too long to turn the screw and really believe in ourselves to impose our will on even our toughest opponents. I think that's where it is. The belief to impose our will, not nullify theirs, impose ours. And I think that comes with, again, a lot of the individual quality and players that we've added. I think that comes in the right squad selection in terms of the starting 11 and the capabilities that each of them have to influence play and create some of those moments of maybe whether it be chaos or magic or whatever. Have those accelerators in the team in balance with the foundation we've built. Maybe a bit more calculated risk with the lineup, you know? And I think we will have more moments of magic like that to at least claw things back. And not only do that, but if at the right times, we're going to win these games, turn these draws that we're behind and have to react to into proactive wins, because we did the right things from the outset. We provided the right level of danger from the outset. And I think that's just the next stage that Arteta has to consider, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, it's a draw. I'm not happy about the draw. I'm happy about the return and the resilience that we all showed. You know, the squad showed in the second half to come back and to keep plugging away and to try and turn the screw against a City side who were, you know, they were looking to protect their lead as best they can, which seems to be a funny point. Other people can't protect their leads at other people's grounds, especially when they go down to 10 men. Throwing my hands up. But we did well. We did well to respond, but now it's not just about responding. It's about asking those questions of people and providing those statements from the offset, from the beginning, from the start, from the kickoff whistle. Those questions that we asked at the end, we start asking them at the beginning. And I think we'll be in much better shape going down the line. But we got a lot to dig up next week. SJP won't get any easier. You know, won't get any easier, but we have to, you know, pick up points. We have to stay within some touching distance with Liverpool as they get warmed up and all this other stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be a long season. I got faith that we're gonna get much better. I think the evolution of the squad, the tactics behind the squad are gonna be a lot more proactive and more along the lines of what a protagonist should look like. That's my hope. That's my hope. And I always got hope in my club. So we're going to see what happens. But let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the game, your favorite moments, performances, all this other stuff. Let me know in that section below. And with that being said, I am tired. I need food. I need a break. I need some type of reprieve from football, because today was a day. Today was absolutely a day. But that's all the time I got. My name is Full Time Trip. And we'll see y'all later, man. COYJ. Peace.